Welcome to the table. I'm your host, Wolf, and today we're going to be talking about the Classic Constructed Precons and how they are just so amazing. And we all know, I'm going to dive right into it, we all know that the Blitz Precons have been around for a while and that they are the best product for brand new players to buy and get into the game. And I still believe that that's true because these Classic Constructed decks, Armory decks, aren't meant for beginner players. Now, when it comes to Classic Constructed, yes, they're meant for brand new Classic Constructed players, but not for new players. So let me explain. Blitz is not the most popular format in the game. That's Classic Constructed. Classic Constructed is the main format of Flesh and Blood where you get the full experience of the game, right? But it's not really the best format to get into when you're brand new because 60 card decks, 3 copies of each card, really wanting to play those legendaries, it requires more like skill and strategic prowess towards your deck and the game. It's a more complicated and not really beginner-friendly format, but Blitz is because the decks are smaller, 40 card decks. The life total, instead of being 40, is 20, so the games are quicker. That will also appeal to new players, and you have 2 copies of each card. It's just it's a much simpler format, and it's a much more new player-friendly format, which is why the Blitz Precons are such a good beginner product, because you get those, and you kind of figure out, okay, what do I want to have in Blitz decks and in order to make like an actual good Blitz deck, and then you make those Blitz decks, but eventually you kind of want to make the transition from Blitz, which isn't the main format, to Classic Constructed to get the main experience of the game of Classic Constructed. And what do you really want to put in Classic Constructed decks is the question, because Blitz, Classic Constructed, 2 very different formats, and until now players transitioning from Blitz to Classic Constructed aren't 100% sure of what cards are better in Classic Constructed than Blitz. But thanks to these Classic Constructed Precons, they now have that answer. Because you get the Blitz Precons, you play Blitz, you kind of get a feel for the game, figure out all the strategic complexities and all that kind of stuff, but then you want to transition to Classic Constructed. Now you can get those Precons and kind of figure out, okay, what do I want to have in my deck in order to actually build a good competitive Classic Constructed deck. And at $40, this is a really fair rate for the fact that it is not a beginner-friendly product. It is a more advanced product, and it has to, it's a more competitive deck. You can buy this deck and take it to the armory and play it and not get absolutely crushed, but it's a good deck. It's much better than a Blitz deck. If you were to take a Blitz deck to an armory event, you wouldn't do wonderful, but with this, you would do a lot better in a Classic Constructed event at an armory. And that's because these decks are meant to be more competitive and have better cards in them. So they're going to be about $40, but you get the full experience of Classic Constructed minus those legendary equipment. But what does that mean? We get new budget equipment, which is another thing that I really like about this product. Civic Steps are an absolutely amazing card in pretty much any Guardian deck, and we got that in a Precon. And now we're probably, with these Classic Constructed decks, gonna get more budget-friendly equipment that's really good and playable. Maybe not as expensive, and maybe even sometimes more expensive than Civic Steps, but still, it's gonna be very nice to see, thanks to these Classic Constructed Precons. And they're super popular, so I imagine they're gonna put some pretty sweet gems in there for players, including some brand new equipment that we've never seen before, and maybe even down the line a reprint of equipment like Civic Steps. Who knows? But besides that, you have the main deck. Now, we've gotten really good cards in the main deck in Precons before as well, like Glistening Steel Blade, which, same thing with Civic Steps, might get reprinted down the road, but that means that with these Classic Constructed decks, bringing new cards to the game, being more competitive, we're going to get more of those new kinds of cards as well, that we have never seen before that are going to be in these Classic Constructed Precons that are really good, make them more competitive, and just really good, solid, playable new cards in those Classic Constructed Precons. So that just makes them even better. And overall, I think this is an absolutely amazing product. It's a great transition product from Blitz to Classic Constructed for those players that don't really know for sure exactly what to put in. And if I were to go from Blitz to Classic Constructed right now, I'd probably build a pretty garbage deck. But thanks to his product, coming out alongside Part the Mist Veil, maybe, I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. But anyways, with all that aside, get that if you're wanting to make the transition from Blitz to Classic Constructed. And with all that aside, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It's completely free, you won't regret it. And with all that aside, see you next time, everybody.